Board of Commissioners meeting to order. Roll call, please. Oh, I'm sorry, Pastor, if you could lead us in prayer. All right.
Let's bow our heads in prayer. Lord, we thank you for those who step up to exercise their right for responsible and active citizenship. We ask that you would be with the commissioners this evening and with all who bring their ideas to this discussion. Bless these proceedings, Lord. May they not be acrimonious, as many times things can devolve into acrimony when there are many different voices. Almighty God, we lift before you all who govern this state, city, town, county. May those who hold power understand that it is a trust from you to be used, not for personal glory or profit, but for the service of the people. Drive us from cynicism, selfishness, and corruption. Grant in your mercy just and honest government, and give us grace to live together in unity and peace. Almighty God, our Heavenly Father, bless the public servants and the government of the county of Alpena and the city of Alpena, that they may do their work in a spirit of wisdom, charity, and justice. Help them use their authority to serve faithfully and to promote our common life through your Son, Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible,
with liberty and justice.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner LaHaye,
Here.
Commissioner Ludlow,
Here.
Commissioner Bray. Here. Commissioner Peterson.
Here.
Commissioner Fournier. Here. Commissioner Britton.
here.
Commissioner Kozlowski.
Here. Okay, look for a motion everyone had. Do we have anything that needs to be added?
Just 14.5, if we can add, there's one bill that needs to be paid. And that bill is in our emergency manager's email. Kim just found it and sent that over this afternoon. So it's $500 for software that she needs for reporting.
Make a motion, we adopt the agenda with the additions.
We have a motion, support by Commissioner Ludlow. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay. First thing we have is the bills to pay. Anybody,
Public comment?
can we get rid of public comment? Public comment is here. No. Just, I'm still winded, sorry. So do we have any public comment? Do we have any cards or anything? No, no public comment? What? It's like,
Sure.
shocked. I'm like, no public comment, what are you?
Hi there, my name is Trisha Udell, 1253 North Erin Road, Erin. And I just want to say thank you again for stopping the negotiations with Blackwater. We greatly appreciate that. I am on the FOIA committee that submitted a request for FOIA. We are still waiting for information. And I just wanted to make sure that everybody was aware of that it's still ongoing. And we were asked, I think it was last Wednesday, I took in another flash drive. Still haven't received any information on that, so. Thank you.
Any other public comment? What?
Don't see no
Anyone
hands.
online? This is gonna be way too easy.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll close public comment. There is another opportunity if you guys decide to, at the end of the meeting, we'll have public comment again. So we are closing public comment. We'll move on to the bills to pay. So everyone has had an opportunity to review the bills. Any issues, concerns?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, so we have a motion to pay the bills by Commissioner Peterson. Support by Commissioner Britton. Any discussion? If not, roll call, please.
Commissioner LaHaye,
Yes.
Commissioner Ludlow,
Yes.
Commissioner Bray,
Yes.
Commissioner Peterson,
Yes.
Commissioner Fournier,
Yes.
Commissioner Britton,
Yes.
Commissioner Kozlowski.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, next item is the consent calendar. Is there anything on the consent calendar that anybody had a problem with or concerns?
Make a motion, Reed.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner LaHaye,
I'll support.
support by Commissioner Bray. Any discussion? If not, roll call, please.
Commissioner Ludlow,
Yes.
Commissioner Bray,
Yes.
Commissioner Peterson,
Yes.
Commissioner Fournier,
Yes.
Commissioner Britton,
Yes.
Commissioner LaHaye,
Yes.
Commissioner Kozlowski.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay. Next item, we have the Mid-Michigan Medical Examiner Group Administrator, Lisa.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me today. I'm Lisa Kasparek, and I'm here to give you your annual report on behalf of the Medical Examiner's Office in Alpena County. Our group has represented your county for quite a few years now, and I'm just going to give you the updates and allow you to ask any questions that you may have. So we will just dive right in. As far as Alpena County goes, the Medical Examiner's Office, of course, for those of you that are new, investigates all unexpected deaths that happen with the state or in this county, much like the rest of the state. So that would be homicides, suicides, non-natural deaths, accidents like. With our 2025, we had an increase of 11.9%. So that's not beyond what we can handle, but it does represent an increase. The medical examiner staff that we have reside within the county, as medical examiner investigators. We have a very robust, very seasoned staff here. So the county is very lucky to have such a great staff, some of which are nationally certified, which is not mandatory, but is the way that we train the investigators and take it further, which then, of course, assists your prosecutor in being able to stand by the type of investigation that medical examiner investigator does on the scene. All the way seen through to our office, where then Dr. Paul Wagner will sign off on the cause and manner of death of the death certificate. So jumping into the annual report on page 5, you can see that the spread of cases was up overall. The scenes that were investigated is also up a little bit. Cremation reviews as well were up. Autopsies remained steady though, so it was a good thing. And toxicologies, of course, were up, though, you know, there are different types of toxicologies that we do on-scene toxicology testing, as well as rapid 3D, and of course, the full panel, which is very, you know, deep dive into that toxicology, and that takes about 10 days. The manner of death, by comparison, you can see each category there. Accidents were down just a bit, which was good. Suicides down just a bit as well. Last year, we did have a homicide, which we don't always have in this county, so have that increase there. But then natural deaths were the greatest manner that deserved that increase for 2025. The cause of death by year comparison. This is an important chart because not only do we sign the death certificate for the families and give them peace of mind for their loved ones in an unexpected death, but we also are tasked with making sure that the health department and public health and any type of safety measures are made note and highlighted if we see something. We have seen across the state over the decades and across our nation that heart disease remains the number one reason that a case would come to our office. And so we just want to make sure that that is in line with everybody else. Accidental injuries is number 2, and that is also in alignment with both the region and the state. I said suicides were down by 2. Suicide victims span between the age of 17 to 92 years old. Those causes of accidental injuries is exactly the same as the rest of the region, where falls are number 1 and then drug use is second. Those who died from falls span between the age of 60 to 103. So then on to the drug-related deaths. The findings are that alcohol is prevalent in many cases. Fentanyl, methamphetamine, and then other opioids. So we test for a full array, full panel, and this is what this follows. One of the silver linings in the medical examiner's office, though it is, I am here to report death of the county, is that we have the ability to have referred 13 different decedents with their last wishes to the gift of life. So each individual can touch over 88 lives, both in the way of cornea, skin, and then of course, you know, the possibility of organs and the like. So important to highlight that heart on your driver's license. And we abide by the families and the decedents' last wishes. The last page highlights the jurisdiction that our county has, and this is important to Alpena County because should you experience a mass fatality in your community, we have staff from transporters to the investigators that are ready to come within the county. Transportation would be a very big thing to be able, in a mass fatality, to make sure that we have a single transported in a, you know, very appropriate manner, as well as having each of that mass fatality event investigated the same, no matter if we have 100, I'm down to just 5. So that's why our jurisdiction is important. We have jurisdiction over 19 counties and we have the experience of 30 years under our belt. So that I feel is outside of the realm for a mass fatality event. Not that it would be any fun whatsoever, but at least we know we have a lot of resources to draw on. Yeah, I would welcome questions from the board.
Anyone have any questions?
Chairman, just real quick, I'm sorry. I met with Lisa earlier today and we were just going through some numbers. And one of the things that I realized in going through them was it's been a while since we put an RFP out for transport services. And the reason that came up is because we have the new grants and contracts committee this year. So if it's okay, I'd like to assign that to Chairman Ludlow's committee to take up some time in the month of July.
Okay. So I do have a question. I was looking on here. One of the things that I didn't see on your list was deaths from pickleball. Is that a thing? 'Cause I can attest that it's a thing.
It is a thing, oh no.
Came close, so.
Well, I saw you run in the room here asking for a bottle of water. I felt that might not have been the case.
So what's the big difference between, so when you talk about, what was it? Unexpected deaths. So if 141, if we had, because let's just say I had a heart attack and died coming in here, is that an unexpected death? Because no one expected me to die coming to the board meeting. Is that fall in that 141?
Absolutely,
Okay.
yes, absolutely. Yeah.
So if I'm sitting in the hospital and I'm just old, and people are saying it's gonna be any day now, that's not unexpected.
An inpatient? So that's a great question though, because these deaths do not represent hospice deaths or in a lot of regards facility cases that are natural. If you're an inpatient, you have received a regular medical care by a licensed physician, you know, in order to be inpatient, you have to receive that, right? So they already know what that, you know, what your cause is.
Okay.
Now, if that cause, I don't care how long you're in the hospital, if that cause is non-natural, it still falls under our jurisdiction. Okay, so that would fall, the difference between scene investigations and overall cases is that for scenes, we need to send a medical examiner investigator out to the scene. When somebody expires in the hospital or in a facility, then it is sometimes not necessary to send an investigator there because they have already received a full workup. And we are able to recover all the medical records, talk to the ER physician that was standing over them. If we have what we need in that regard, then we proceed. And sometimes we decide they're gonna go for an autopsy right from that location, and then, you know, in the like term, we can get what we need later from the postmortem exam. So that's a good question, because hospital deaths can vary depending on if you're officially an inpatient or just passing through the ER.
I can tell you, when I was in the hospital, I felt like dying. So it was miserable.
Well, it looks like they did a great job because you're sitting here
You know, they
today.
lied to me. So I think that I was on that, but
I should also highlight that our office has taken a death investigation pretty seriously, but not to do things the same way for the last 100 years as we plan on doing them for the next 100 years maybe. So the future looks bright. We do deeper dive investigations on the scene now. Like, you know, like I said, we do point of care testing right on the scene. We're able to tell law enforcement whether there's trace of something, you know, in that body. The other thing that we have then inserted is CT scans. And so much like the living, you don't just decide there's something wrong with you and go for exploratory surgery. We have multiple layers that we can get to the cause and manner of death through a triage process, which is much like you do with ER. So we received a grant through MDHHS and we put in a CT scanner. It's over in Grayling. We chose that location. We gifted that to the county, and then all of the counties, you know, that we have jurisdiction over can utilize that. And we just think that that's a great asset for Northern Michigan, where we do not have any board certified forensic pathologists north of us. So where there is a shortage, we have them provided another way. And so we're very thankful for that. If I can give just a tiny little plug, our investigators in our other counties have received a little bit of the opioid settlement funds to go ahead and do those deep dive investigations on the drug deaths as well. So having an electronic tablet is what we received the funding for. When they take that on scene, it gives us a path, question, answer live, so that we can do a deeper dive into each of these investigations. So sometimes we're just statutorily tasked cause and manner of death. But we feel like the more data we can recover on the moments, days, weeks, and months up to that person's life, why are they where they are? How come none of the resources that's out there work for them? Why is this the worst case scenario? Because they are deceased. And so we hope to have that type of support maybe from Alpena as well, so that we
what
can.
funding was that you used?
They use the opioid funding for that because.
Can I ask a question? Just real quick on the tablets, did the money that you received from the remediation funds cover only the device, or do they also cover the service as well?
Both.
Both, okay.
Yep. The
And then
device the service.
is it just basically like an estimate of what the yearly, you'll just get the contract and let them know?
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
because we do
absolutely.
have June 30th is our deadline for our current.
We're aware.
If you guys get.
We're aware.
Okay.
We're ready and just super excited to not have them pen and paper, because there's just so many more questions we can ask with a pathway of questions on scene, and to be able to take a tablet in where we can, you know, I mean, we can take photos of the drugs there and then get that sorted instead of counting 1, 2, 3, 4 and writing them pen and paper. I mean, it's just, it is a great tool. So thank you for your consideration.
And then one last question, if I can, with the methamphetamine and fentanyl that you have listed, you have both those deaths at 2. Oftentimes we hear fentanyl being laced into other drugs such as meth. Is it if the fentanyl is present, then you label it fentanyl, or is it on like the level, you can break down the levels and
They
figure out
break
if,
down the levels.
okay.
Yes, they break down the levels. Absolutely.
So how were you planning? So obviously you were planning to request those funds from the opioid steering committee? Okay. And what made you decide to do that? Because you've done it with the other counties?
Yes,
Okay.
and it has been wonderful. Just this morning, I gave Huron County their presentation, and that was just based off of historical, what we were able to use. We had an intern that has been working with us this summer to deep dive into, and it was amazing. Like, I can tell you for some of their cases, you know, a myriad of things. You want to know if they have recently had a run-in with the law, recently been released from prison, and what their housing was like, if they have had an opportunity to have any kind of mental health checks. I mean, just, did they know Narcan? Can they read? Did they not know, you know, who to call or when to call? A lot of the times when we are on the scene, we are there with their loved one, and with their loved one, we are touching them. We are making sure that we are giving them the best care at their, you know, since they are deceased, and their loved ones that are standing there, the friends and family, are very open with us. And we believe that if we can recover that data, then we can help the next couple of dozen deaths that might otherwise come from that. The more you know, right? The more you know. So that device will be able to really weave us through each case. And so we're developing, we have a tech girl on staff. 30 years ago, when Dr. Wagner and I were doing this, I could have never told you, oh my goodness, pretty soon we'll have our own app that will be amazing for those iPads, you know, that we developed ourselves. Right now, we're paying for one, but we have just put so much into it, and it's amazing. And so we hope that every county takes advantage of that. So,
Do you have a cost associated with that?
yeah, I'll submit it. How's that?
Okay.
You're gonna hold me to it, isn't it?
I just was curious because I know, you know, we've talked about some of the things that the opioid steering committee could fund. And anything that would be to me, anything related to the drug use and potentially deaths, seems like a good use of that money that we're getting. So,
Thank you. And we believe so as well. In fact, once we have this ability and really this deep dive into drugs today, suicides tomorrow, that once we get this going, there's nothing that we might not be able to, you know, in 20, 30 years from now, be able to give you more data. What you do with the data, you know, we think will be good. I'm up here reporting, you know, doom and gloom. It'd be nice to be able to see that we're making a big difference for you guys. So thank you for your consideration. I really appreciate it.
okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Next up, Francis.
Good evening. So I'm Frances Omani. I'm the Strategy and Development Director for NEMSCA, which, as a reminder, is your community action agency here in Alpena County. I was thinking on my drive here today that this is my 10th year of presenting this annual report to this board, so I appreciate having the time on your agenda today. But today I want to go over a little bit about our annual report and some of the things that we were able to accomplish and report to you in the last fiscal year. But I always like to just assume maybe there's a couple people in the room that aren't familiar with what community action agencies are all about. So community action agencies were created in the 1960s. NEMSCA's birthday is in August this year. We'll have been here for 59 years. And we are a trusted agency that provides a plethora of programs for people that are in need, to give them the tools and the resources so that they can live the best life that they can live. If you open up on the page 2 of the annual report, there's a message from Lisa Bullen, our Executive Director, CEO, where she talks about the things that we were accomplishing and the things that we're excited about going forward. Below that is a picture of most of our board that was taken at last December's board meeting. We are what's called a tripartite board, which means that 1/3 of our board consists of elected officials. Historically, in the past, it's always been county commissioners. So our elected official here for Alpena County is Commissioner Ludlow, who's been on the board how long now?
Couple of years now.
About 2 years or so. And we've had county commissioners in the past that have represented Alpena constituents when it comes to being on our board. Another third of our board is private citizens. So these are people that believe in our mission, that also have something to bring to the table. They could have expertise in fiscal, they could have expertise in strategic planning, or so on and so forth. But finally, what makes us unique as a board is that the final third of our board consists of what we call consumer sectors. These are people that are either low income themselves, or they represent low income in their community in some manner. And this is a very important part of our board makeup because we really believe and value the voice of our most vulnerable population. To the right of that on page 3, it talks about some of our operational highlights in the last fiscal year. You might remember last year when we presented to this board that we talked about the fact that NEMSCA partnered with NEMCOG and developed by OSCO and Pulse out of Battle Creek, Michigan, to create a separate nonprofit organization, which is called Child Care Back Office. This nonprofit organization is a statewide organization that provides that support to childcare providers, because we know that childcare or lack thereof is a huge issue here in Alpena County, along with the whole state of Michigan. So what this organization does is it's able to provide some support, maybe when it comes to training, recruiting, human resources, payroll processing, and things like that. There's a CEO of that company now, and she has since hired about 5 or 6 people to operate this organization. So every year we'll be seeing this grow and grow, and it's definitely a need in our area. The second operational highlight, as you know, in Alpena, we have the PACE of Northeast Michigan. That's in the old Big Lots Plaza that has been running and operational for the past few months. And Executive Director Jeff Meaden has probably been to this board in the past and presented, but it seems like things are going very well for PACE. NEMSCA had played an integral part in that organization coming to Alpena, Michigan, because we were one of the partners, along with Presbyterian Villages, that was able to support that effort and get that establishment here in Alpena, which is greatly needed. And finally, expanded a little bit. So we're pretty large to begin with, but now we took on an additional county with our Head Start preschool program effective 10/1, and we offer a Head Start preschool program to St. Clair County, which is the Port Huron area. So we like to say in-house that we provide Head Start from bridge to bridge, because we are all the way in Sheboygan, all through Northeast, and we actually touch into 22 counties with the Head Start preschool program. If you move on to page 4, you'll see that map that I was just indicating, and that we have 11 counties, with of course Alpena being one of them as our core area, where we are designated as your community action agency, but we touch into many, many more. The bottom left is just a graph. It was a snapshot of when I put the annual report together of the division of our staff. When we're fully rostered, which is hardly ever because we're always hiring, we could have definitely north of 800, maybe 850 staff under the NEMSCA umbrella. So you can see the breakdown by division there. To the right, it talks a little bit about the power behind the mission and why we're here today and why we've been around for almost 59 years. We are very appreciative for all our volunteers that support our programs. We invest in excellence from the NEMSCA staff and board, and you can see that over 2,200 hours in the last year went to professional training. And we also collaborate with about 900 partners across our region. The next page, the year in the review, it shows a couple graphs on the breakdown between and the numbers that we provided support to by county and then by age. So you can see that Alpena in the last fiscal year, we provided support to over 1,900 people, and that's an unduplicated count. Below that is clients by age, and this is always pretty cool to see, is that you can see by far most of our clients or participants in our program are on one spectrum to the other when it comes to the vulnerable population. So maybe 0 to 5 or over 65 and up. And that's because of the fact that we provide so many different programs. You might call our agency the agency that provides support from sunrise to sunset in people's lives. So all the way from early childhood, when somebody finds out they're having a baby, they could potentially enroll in our early Head Start preschool program, transition into Head Start preschool, school success partnership. If we have people that are adults that need help with the homeless and prevention team that we have, weatherization, our volunteer programs. And then, of course, we are also designated as the Region 9 Area Agency on Aging Division. So many of the programs that are here in Alpena County that provide that support to our aging population falls under the NEMSCA umbrella. To the right on page 7, that's the impact by numbers. So you can see the breakdown across our coverage area of depending on which program you're looking at how much support we provided. And then that total number, 14,213 individuals were served across the region as an unduplicated count. The next couple pages shows and highlights some of our connections, our advocacy efforts, and then of course our impact by stories. If you've heard me speak before about NEMSCA, those numbers that I tell every year are very important, but every one of those numbers has a story, and that's why we're here today. So we see that we have a couple that are highlighted on page 9. The next couple pages is all about our fiscal, either our expenditures or our funding. So on the left, it has the breakdown of how we're funded. And this doesn't change too much from year to year. So in the last fiscal year, we were almost 54% federally funded, just over 40% state, and the remaining was local or in kind. And you can see that graph below shows the growth over the last few calendar years in our budget increases. That might not necessarily mean we're getting more per program. More likely, it's because we have additional programs that are available. And to the right is the expenditure, the breakdown. So this shows, again, by far, our largest division is our early childhood services. When I'm out in the communities and I'm talking about NEMSCA, most of the people associate Head Start with us because that is our largest division. And you can see that very clearly when it goes to what's the funding that's going back out in the community. One of the things that NEMSCA is most proud of, or very proud of, is you can see that 3.66% that's circled on the bottom of that page. That is what we call our indirect rate, or also is called the administrative rate. So that means that almost 97 cents of every dollar, about 96.5, goes back out into that program to support those people that need that funding, to support the salaries of all the hundreds of people that we have running those programs, and so on and so forth. So on the back, it just gives some of the logos that represent some of our programs. And then, of course, we're always recruiting because we're always hiring. So can I answer any questions about NEMSCA, our programs, or this annual report?
You waving to me?
Yeah, can I ask? I just didn't want to bypass anybody. Just out of curiosity, there's not very many programs I follow, but one of them is School Success. And I just read last week that in the 26-27 budget, they're going to be cutting that drastically, but they're going to be replacing it with a new program possibly, or one that duplicates that work. Is that something that?
Yeah, I will answer the best that I can, knowing that I'm sure a lot of people know Dorothy Pintar, the director that oversees the School Success Program. She would be able to speak a lot more eloquently about it than I can, but I'll tell you what the best I can. So in the past, the state had a line item budget that was $1.5 million that was designated to the School Success Partnership Program. It's been like that for a few years. That, along with some funding that NEMSCA puts towards the program, and of course the schools, what they contribute to the program, has allowed us to sustain that program and grow. I think there's like 80 some school systems or school buildings that have school success in it. The way the budget has been presented as of now is that $1.5 million is down to zero, and that line item is no longer there. And the state's response is that they have something at a state level that they think might be similar to what school success is. I don't think that that's necessarily accurate. As if you read that Bridge magazine, it talks about the differences and the discrepancies from that. But Dorothy's been doing a really great job going down to Lansing and advocating and trying to get that buy-in so that that funding gets back into the budget. So that's where we're at right now. Thank you for that question.
You have a question, Lucille?
No, I have.
So obviously with that, I would assume that a lot of areas are sending people to have that discussion at Lansing to try to get that back in the budget.
Yeah.
So what are the options if that doesn't come back in? What's plan B?
That would be a Dorothy question and a Dorothy answer. I know she has some strategies lined up, but she has not, I don't know if she's really announced what that would be, but I know she has a plan to see what we can do to continue it as many schools as possible.
Okay.
So if they took 1.5 million, they put it somewhere.
Uh-huh.
And somewheres might not want to give it back up.
Potentially, yeah.
Yes. Jeez, that's too bad.
Any other questions? If not, I think that's all we got. I appreciate you coming in.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Okay, moving right along. Next item, is Lieutenant Ray Ryan.
Commissioners, how are you doing today?
Good.
Thank you for having me. I was of the understanding the annual report would be viewable on the TV screen, not a huge deal.
Doesn't look,
You have them in your packets, I
We
believe.
have them.
yeah,
in the packet.
Perfect. So
nobody else out there can see it though.
it is a publicly available report. Did everybody get a chance to take a look at that?
Yep.
It is localized. Out of respect for your time, I'm not going to read the whole annual report unless you would like me to. But I am going to highlight some things specifically about Alpena. If you have had a chance to look at our annual report, and also if you follow Alpena mugshots, you will be aware that Alpena County does have a drug problem. And I'm going to come back to the annual report in just a moment. Kind of a big stats nerd when it comes to stuff. I like data to support things that I'm going to talk about. So I had some Intel analysts do a workup. Hunt covers 4 counties, if you guys are aware: Alpena, Alcona, Mount Mo, and Presqu'île. So I wanted that data compared with additional counties in northern Michigan, including Otsego, Sheboygan, Emmett, and Charlevoix. Otsego being the most comparable because they have the city of Gaylord there. And what I was looking for was trends in felony drug arrests over the last 10 years. And specifically what I break it down to in the last 2 years, and it's pretty surprising to me, in northern Michigan. Last year, Alpena County, comparable to the other 8 counties that were polled there, had over 50% more felony drug arrests than any other county. They led by double. This year, they're actually trending over by 60% out of all other 8 counties for felony drug arrests. Now, there's a couple things, again, as far as the exact reason why Alpena County is having so many felony drug arrests. Population, one of them. Alpena County, Alpena City has a high population. Higher population obviously can equal more arrests. So that's one thing to look at. Number 2, we have a very robust law enforcement system that covers Alpena County, between the sheriff's department, between the city, and between the state. Perhaps that could lend into it as well, but the data doesn't lie about that. Like I said, this year alone, halfway through the year, we're over 60% higher drug arrests than any of those other counties in northern Michigan. So I just wanted to bring your attention to that. And then the annual report, just bear with me because I thought that was going to be up there. A couple things I want to touch on and I'll bring your attention to on the annual report. If you go to page 2 on the commander's message, and if I can take you down, I'll just read it because I think it's very important to cover that. Our area of operation is under siege by the scourge of meth, fentanyl, crack, and cocaine. These drugs can be directly tied to a multitude of other crimes, including breaking and enterings, larcenies, domestic violence, and assaults. Okay, and the reason I bring that up because, again, talking data, I was doing some research on this specific topic because as police officers, we know that felony drugs, especially meth and especially fentanyl and crack as well, which is making a resurgence in the area that I'll touch on, those lead to other crimes. But I don't want to just say that and not have the data to do it. So actually the U.S. Department of Justice did a study. It was called The Intersection of Methamphetamine and Violence in the United States. Methamphetamine right now being the main felony drug problem in Alpena County, and it's bad. We can talk about that a little further at our board meetings without getting into too much here, but that's our main focus right now is the meth scourge that's hitting the county. So basically that they took data from across the United States, they did it by county, And what they found, and I'm just gonna read it to you if that's okay. Again, just a nerd for data. The analysis showed significant correlations between methamphetamine overdose and all violent crime, specifically robbery. The authors' study suggests that communities with higher methamphetamine overdoses likely face increased rates of crime, specifically robbery, to impact costs associated with law enforcement, prosecution, and healthcare. So they touched on felony crimes that were associated with methamphetamine problems in the county. There's dozens and dozens of studies that show when the drug problem is not taken care of in a county and not targeted aggressively, property crimes go up, larcenies go up, hospital overdose visits go up. All of these associated costs go up with methamphetamine, specifically in drugs. So bringing back to the annual report as I'm kind of tying these things together. And again, I'm going to be very respectful of your time. I would like to take you down to probably the most alarming thing that we saw last year. The couple of cases that were highlighted in Alpena, I can tell you a lot more, down in the activity highlights pages. You'll see one that says Alpena, and it starts with March 27th, 2025. And there's just a picture of some drugs on a scale. But I can tell you, the pictures don't do it justice. This was a football-sized amount of crystal methamphetamine that was being trafficked into Alpena County on a weekly basis. That guy's in prison now. That just goes to show you just on that one, the appetite for drug consumption that can be available in this county. Scoot down one more slide there. You're going to see Alpena City and Alpena County. This is, as far as I'm aware, at least in the last 10 to 15 years, this is the largest crack and cocaine seizure that's happened in Hunt's history. Again, showing the appetite from the drug seekers in the area. That's almost a half kilogram of cocaine with a street value somewhere between $15,000 and $20,000 worth of cocaine destined right for this county. So just wanted to highlight those again. We have the whole report available. At the end of it, if you have any questions about the report, we can touch on some of that stuff. Back to Hunt. Just wanted to cover a couple misconceptions. Number one, Hunt was formed by an interlocal agreement. One of the founding members of Hunt was Alpena County. Alpena County, Mount Mo, Presque Isle, and Alcona, and a couple of the cities, including Alpena City, decided they wanted to partner with the Michigan State Police and create a multi-jurisdictional task force. While the MSP provides most of the management structure for Hunt, Hunt is ran and governed by those entities, including your county as well. Formed by your county, governed by your county, specifically for targeting drug dealers in your county. Sometimes people think that the Michigan State Police is in charge of Hunt. It is not. We just provide the management structure. So that's sometimes a misconception there. Moving on. The things I want to talk about. I did also produce this memo that Mr. Osmer had asked me to, the request for funding, but I was told we're going to save that till August.
No, I use it in August.
Sorry.
So I'll just save that. Okay. I have it here. So the sheriff is here. Got a great relationship with the sheriff's department. What I can tell you, and I'd like to touch on this, we don't currently have a full-time Alpena County deputy assigned to Hunt. So we have the worst, statistically, county that's having the biggest struggle with drugs right now. And we don't have a full-time deputy from that team. I would make a pitch that this would be a good investment of you guys' resources to fund a deputy to the team. Because that relationship, when we actually have a deputy from a county on our team, the relationships we build and the additional crime that we can solve for pushing this problem down that's happening right now, it's hard to put a number to that. When you talk about drug problems in a county, in a city, affecting crimes, affecting property values, affecting emergency services, these are all costs that add up and can be curbed by aggressive law enforcement. So just a couple things. And like I said, I'll wrap up quickly. I interviewed a previous Alpena County deputy that was on Hunt. And he said the following. So P/C, because I'm going to protect them as a confidential informant. Anybody who hasn't been out on this team wouldn't understand the impact this team does to the drug epidemic in our area. Numbers only capture so much. I also became a much more proficient investigator with my time on hunts, and I was able to bring those skills back to the sheriff's office. So that was a really good quote as part of the value of putting a deputy on the team. Number two, the more detectives that we have on the team, just the more that we're able to do. We don't just target drug traffickers. When any departments call for assistance of any pattern crime, so for example, say there's a shooting in one of the counties, or there is a missing person, or there's people's cars getting broken into, they can call us, any of the counties, and your investigator, your department immediately has 5, 6 additional detectives ready to assist. So it's not just drugs that we target. We don't target drug users, we target drug traffickers, the people who are actually selling it and bringing it into the area. Just to cover on there. Being a contributing member of Hunt increases the availability of candidates for a sheriff's department. It is a hard time to hire law enforcement right now. And one of the things that departments want to show and should show is opportunities for their people to grow and develop. Having an Alpena County deputy full-time back on the team is a selling point for recruitment for your county. As the sheriff will attest, it is difficult to recruit right now in law enforcement. It's just one of those bonuses that attracts candidates that you're actually putting people on the drug team that you founded as a county. Number 3, one funded deputy gives you an entire team. So even if you're putting a deputy on the team, you now have access to all of Hunt whenever you need it, for whatever you need it. If you guys have a community event where you need undercover people to keep an eye on people that might be underage drinking or doing some drugs with these are things, kind of things people don't think about, that we can deploy detectives for that kind of thing. So what was trending? It was that Hunt was losing people, putting people on teams. As I talked about, the Michigan State Police manages the structure. We put the lion's share of people out there, including myself, a sergeant, multiple detectives, and then an intel analyst to help us out. If the Michigan State Police sees that a community isn't interested or contributing to one of these teams anymore, as a department, they may not see the value in putting their people out there as well, if that makes sense. Just keep that in mind. The work is here to do for sure, but the partnership with the communities and with who originally joined the interlocal agreement is what makes it work. It can't just be MSP in the area without the contributions that were agreed upon when this interlocal agreement was put forth. Last but not least, the negative outcome. This is again, I've got the data to support this. If enforcement stops without a massive influx of social services, counties nationwide typically see a sharp rise in public drug use, property crimes, which fund addictions, and a severe spike in overdose deaths. This causes extra strain on law enforcement, health services, and a reduction in property value. You can imagine what the long-term effects would be if drug dealers found out Alpena County doesn't have a drug enforcement team anymore. They're going to move here to the rentals. They're going to start selling. This experiment has happened in other parts of the state. It has failed miserably when that happens. So I look forward to a renewed and great partnership with Alpena County. Like I said, if you have Facebook or you take a look at our annual report, there is a problem and there is a way to solve the problem. And that's making sure that we have the contribution of the detectives that we need to address that problem. Only positive things can happen. Alpena County joins Hunt again full time. Any questions about the annual report or any of the data that I stated there?
Any
I'd
questions?
like to know if you have any deputies from the other counties, Algona, Montmorency,
Well, there was a list on the
Presque Isle.
page.
Preston.
We do have Presque Isle, and then we have Alpena City.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know what page the organization it breaks down.
There currently nobody from Alcona or Montmorency.
Okay. Thank you.
Absolutely.
So what you mentioned, what county was it, Gaylord or Grayling?
Otsego County. So they have Gaylord in Otsego County.
Okay, so you said Otsego County, we're higher than Otsego County?
Surprisingly, when I pulled the data, almost double. And they have and I like that as a comparison because people have been to Gaylord, pretty decent sized city, population wide comparable to Alpena. There's some geographical differences like I-75 over there versus US 23 over there. But they have an overlap, pretty good overlap of law enforcement there too, between their city, county and state there. And I was probably as surprised as you guys are that Alpena County's double that.
I'm kind of surprised too, because you would think with 75, like you said,
Yeah.
it's an easy access to go straight up 75 from wherever in the state.
Yeah.
So. Interesting.
I'd be interested to see what Grayling's numbers are.
I can get them. The population for Grayling will be a little bit different. That was a team I used to cover when I was down there. But they've got a little bit of an issue there as well.
I heard like Houghton Lake has been picking up its
I could get into a whole nother conversation.
yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Thank you for your attention as well. I do have that, the memo. This memo is to request, when the interlocal agreement was founded, each entity agreed, so the 4 counties as well as the city and then Rogers City at that time, there was contributions that would be made yearly to keep the team funded for equipment, vehicles, et cetera. That amount has not changed since, no, it's been the same at least since 2002 when they first wrote this up. Whatever 35 years ago would be when the team was founded. This is just a request for continuation of the $8,000 of funding for Alpena County. The money is helpful. The detective is what would be most helpful for us to really put a curb in this county and make it a no-no zone for drug dealers.
Ballpark, what does that run? For another, if we were to do a deputy, what's like just ballpark number?
That would be a conversation to have with the sheriff.
Okay.
I don't know all their funding exactly.
Okay, so it would go off, like, would they be union then or would?
Yeah, so it's
Okay.
one of our road patrol deputies. that
So
are-
they'd actually be employed with you then, not necessarily through, okay, perfect, thank you.
Okay.
And I heard one shout out last time, so many shout out to Alpena County Treasurer. Thank you for working so well with us and you've been a great help since I've been here. And me learning about budgets and all this stuff instead of getting out in the streets.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions?
Sorry to interject. Stu Sharp retired a couple years ago, or a year ago. Lieutenant Roulette took over, and hats off to him. Built the team, changing the way he's operating things. I can't say enough about him, and he's not blowing smoke today. Like, this is bad. I've been telling you guys for a while, we need a deputy on us. We'll talk about it as we go into budget, but hats off to the lieutenant. He's doing a great job.
Typically prefer a hat on because of my current hairstyle.
Thank you.
Where to give this memo to? Thank you for your time and attention.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. I do have, I'll just set them over here. I have more available too. These are our hunt patches. If you want one for your desk.
Yes.
Let's leave them over here. There's more available at our next board meeting, which will be next month. I was just in a hurry when I ran out the door. Just don't leave them behind for any criminals to grab, please.
Sure. Oh, I don't have bags. Send, but.
Thank you. Next up, Jesse.
Commissioners, I was previously approached, actually Nick was originally, and then it came to me. The Alpena County Fair is looking to partner with, is it Lakeshore? I apologize. Yeah, thank you. Yep. To get free Wi-Fi during the fair. I know Nick's been communicating with them, but asked Courtney and this gentleman to be here today in case you had additional questions as to the setup or how it would work exactly. So.
How would it work?
Yeah, you guys wanna?
Dave, I'm the commercial sales rep for Lakeshore Fiber. Basically, we're gonna put, there's a little map,
Just pass it to
we're gonna put access points at the arrows there.
So 3 access points.
It's three locations, more like 5 devices. And we're gonna engage with permission, obviously, we're gonna engage with an electrical contractor to provide
an extension of your power. To add some plugs to power that equipment.
Okay, does anybody need to see this? I saw it before. So what does this ultimately mean? So if it's just for the fair week, is this, whatever you're installing is there permanently?
It's up to you. We could have it temporary or we can leave the plugs.
So what is it? It's just a plug?
Well, we're gonna add a power plug to power the APs, the access points. We're gonna remove the access points when the event is over.
Okay. So basically it's just running electrical to put a plug to then plug in your device or unit to be able to.
We'll also have aerial run of our fiber from our network along your poles to provide the fiber to the access.
Where's it coming from?
Our network.
Yeah, where's it? Is it, so it's,
There's a terminal on the road right in front of the county fairground.
okay.
So this is just for a week,
Well,
Leading up to and then a little bit after.
because we already have internet there.
It's kind of it's about a $20,000 value of pop-up internet that handles roughly 35,000 people or
And Fair Board's paying for that?
per page.
there's a donation.
There's donation.
Come on up and tell me some more.
So we were approached by David. He was very generous in saying that he will be willing to come in and provide this service for us. Yes, there is internet service at the fairgrounds, but that is only for county buildings. We are working with fairs.com this year, which would be a new ticketing system. It's an online ticketing system that would require Wi-Fi to be able to use it efficiently. We were going to have to look at temporary options such as Starlink or potentially Verizon, the little hotspots. But David came in at just the perfect time to offer us this service. So we're coming here to ask permission to be able to install those electrical outlets. Everything else, as David said, would be unless you said otherwise.
So the electrical outlets would be installed like up above, or how does that work? Like on a pole?
I don't have that information specifically. I know that it's got to be close enough for the power cord, so probably it would probably be up on a pole.
Because I'm just assuming that wherever you put those, whatever you want to call them, those things that project the internet,
Yes.
they'd have to be high enough, or I would think, I don't know how it works.
They'll be high, not super high, like just basketball.
15 feet?
Yeah,
Okay,
but it's gonna go on to stuff that's already there.
okay. Does anybody have any questions? No?
You'll be working with a licensed electrician.
Yes.
Okay.
What's that?
Be permitted.
I don't think so. Commissioner Forney said, would it interfere with what we already have out
With the
there?
county.
No.
Did you go to the county, the IT, and ask them if you could hook into ours for possible short time?
We have not.
We're also providing it to all the attendees.
You're providing what?
The Wi-Fi to all the attendees.
Oh, okay. Any questions? If not, I guess.
I'll make the motion, we, or have it.
Okay, so we have a motion
Support.
and support. Any other discussion? Okay, could we do roll
You know
call?
what is the motion?
Oh.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear Bill.
Motion to allow Lakeshore Fiber to install so you said 5?
It's 5 devices. It'll be 3 power sources.
And that will not be costing the county any money.
No, the electrical is already there. We're just gonna add a plug to it.
Okay,
And then when you leave, you'll take your equipment with you or whatever you.
Yeah, and you can decide whether you want the plugs to stay or.
I don't think there'd be any reason to move the plugs. Okay, any other questions? Can we do roll call?
Commissioner Bray? Yes. Commissioner Peterson?
Yes.
Commissioner Fornia?
Yes.
Commissioner Britton?
Yes.
Commissioner LaHaye?
Yes.
Commissioner Ludlow?
Yes.
Commissioner Kozlowski?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you.
And just a heads up, I did bring Logan into the loop on June 16th, and I think he was just waiting to see what you guys wanted to do before he spoke to them, just to make sure everything was
Spoke to,
before it came before you guys. And then he'll reach out to them.
Okay,
okay,
that's a good idea, yeah.
okay. So I added, or had Kim add this because while we're talking about the fair, the use agreement, just so we're all on the same page. I know you submitted, and I know I saw something, and I commented to, and actually Tricia made a post about Fair Board not being able to use the fairgrounds. And I said, I don't know where that information came from. And that's when you and I talked, or did we talk or text? I can't remember. I think, because I forget, I texted you and then I think we talked the next day. Just so we're all on the same page, because I want Nick's here. I know Todd's here. I'm here. The board's here. Just so we're all clear, and I've talked to Courtney regarding, and actually Cindy, I met with them a month ago or so, and I want to make this clear that we're not, I mean, if you guys want to do something, and I said to you both in that meeting that day that all you have to do is put in a use agreement, just so we're tracking what's happening, what's going in. Although I didn't know at the time that you had listed 7 things, and so that's when I said, we'll have that discussion. But I just wanted to make sure that the board is aware, or what their feeling is towards that. I know this is a little bit different. You're not turning in on a regular basis 7 different things that you want to do. But we do have that use agreement. We're tracking, and I know Holly and Nick are tracking when stuff is being done, because we want to know what's happening with the fairgrounds. If there's improvements made, we want to track that as well. So what are your thoughts? I told Courtney, and I know Jesse reached out to Todd, that we can do whatever, if you fill out that use agreement, we have no problems with that. And again, I know this is a little bit different because there's 7 things that you want to do, roughly 7 things. So what are your thoughts? I know, Todd, you had no problem with it. I think I told you that, just again, when I first heard, I said, just turn in a use agreement. And then I know you said you'd talk to Nick, but I don't think, does anybody have a problem with the Fair Board submitting use agreements? I mean, is there any concern with that?
The only problem I have, 2 people on this board, I'm not gonna mention who, had given the Fair Board permission to do a couple of things without getting to this board to have the board know what they want to do. If this board, we do like to know what's going on at the fairgrounds. I don't care if they want to update whatever, but I think this board should know or be asked if it's okay if they go ahead and do this without just a member or another member say, yeah, go ahead and do it. Because this board don't know what's going on.
I will say that I know, because we canceled facilities, I think, was it literally right before facilities that was turned in?
It would have been on Monday. I believe the facilities meetings on.
Yeah, Wednesday.
Yeah, that's correct.
So again, we can't control if there's not enough stuff to talk about, so the meeting was canceled. And again, I think, most cases, like when you wanted to replace boards at the grandstands, I think you reached out to coordinate with Nick, right?
Nick and Travis.
Yeah. So as long as again, to me, that's just kind of making, it's like kind of housekeeping kind of stuff. This to me is a little bit different with the Lakeshore Fiber. I think we do need to be aware, although it's not really making a huge change to the fairgrounds. But again, are you guys good with, the way we go? I don't want Nick to be worrying, wait a minute, do I need to get approval? Do I need to take it back to facilities? If they're wanting to paint a building, and in most cases, hopefully you have enough time. You're not waiting till the day before to say, hey, we got a work bee, everyone's gonna show up tomorrow, can we get approval? And they've already got something scheduled. So that's kind of why we want to use that use agreement, so they can have something on the calendar with, and know what to expect, that you're coming in, they got the 4-H coming in, or whoever, somebody else is coming in.
Well,
So
I'm sure as a board that you have a plan, you have of planning, why can't they do the agreement and have an attachment that lists attached to it, everything for the year, the dates, and when you're having it, you could have events, you could have dates where you're doing work and have that attached to the agreement.
Just so we know, I mean.
Right, and then Nick will mark his calendar and keep track of it.
I don't mind, if Nick goes ahead and gives his permission to go ahead and like they put the seats, place the boards. But I got a complaint. The boards ain't straight. They're one's here, one's here, one's there. But I guess the structure under that is rotted out, which probably should have been replaced first, and then the boards put on to make it.
Our ultimate goal with that is to replace the bleachers, but with everything going on this year, we were not able to follow through with those grants. That is something we're looking at in the future. We just replaced those boards for the safety of the event.
What's the ballpark on the bleachers, do you know? Just out of curiosity.
For a handicap set, it's about 42,000, and for a non-handicap set, which we do need to have both, a non-handicap set is right around 25.
Okay. Because we did have some plans also, but no, I'm glad that yous are doing work and getting it done. I don't have a problem with that. It's just, we would like to know what's going on. I mean, just one or two members of the board, and then we're told, well, they did that last year.
Well,
Well, we
and
didn't know.
I have made it known to Courtney and Cindy when we talked. Again, and I've talked to Nick, Holly, I've gotten the list of, because I was tracking who's been using it. I don't think one of the things on your list of items to do was paint the fence or stain the fence. I don't think any of us really care that, it's not that we don't care. We care, but it's not like, oh no, this is gonna screw things up if they come on Thursday. If you're coordinating with Nick and Holly, that you want to come in, next weekend to finish staining the fence, I don't think that should be an issue. I don't think we need, and again, maybe if they've got something scheduled, then we need to kind of rethink about that. But in most cases, I know, and I don't want to sound, I don't know how I'll sound, but I don't want you to think that you can just come in there anytime and do whatever you want. Obviously, we want to have that, and we've done that with 4-H, and we've done that, with, and maybe I don't know. I know I've, especially this year, I've taken more of an interest to see what was going on over there. Me personally, I think that if you're trying to make improvements, work on projects, if you're getting that use agreement into Nick and Holly, then I think for the most cases, we're gonna be okay with that.
I'm a firm believer in delegating authority, and Nick's our ground superintendent.
Right.
And if he's all right with it, if he has a concern, he brings it back to the board.
Right.
Well, and that's kind of,
He signs it, he has to sign
He's
it.
got to sign it. That's
kind of what I
And
said.
that was exactly my response to the whole thing. So I don't want to micromanage somebody staying in the fence. I think that Nick's perfectly capable of handling that.
Oh, because Holly knows what's going on out there, so they can figure out, is this date a good date, and go from there.
So last fall, we did have a meeting.
Holly asked a question.
Sorry.
No, not you.
No.
Finish up.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Last fall, we did have a meeting with Travis and Jesse and Nick and Holly to try and organize a way that we could gain access to the fairgrounds in a timely manner. As many of you know, we are volunteers and most of us work full-time or own a business. So being able to plan a month ahead is fairly difficult with us. Also, weather plays a big factor into a lot of things that we do. So last year we did feel like we had a good system going with Nick where we were able to call ahead. We did not, I'll be honest, we did not use the use agreements last year. This is a new process for us, as well as the waivers that were presented to us at the bleacher meeting, and we're not against using those. We're just trying to understand what that process and protocol is.
Well, and I don't think the use agreement is a new process because I went back to 2019 with all my documents. And other than a change on how it looks, it's always been there. And again, I haven't like followed up to say, is this being used? I just assumed whoever's been using it or whoever's been using the fairgrounds has been using that document. So.
We used it for fair and big events, but as far as coming out and staining, fence or stuff like that, we've never used it. But it's not something that we're gonna fight and be against it. We're not, we're just trying to understand.
I think I mentioned to you guys when we talked, at least it gives us something, because I went through all the documents to when like they get a folder, we need a better system too, like put them on file, but we can go back and look to see what was done, and that's the main thing is to track, like if you're painting the fence, we know that the fence was painted in 2026, whatever. We're just trying to keep track of all those improvements, and it's a better way for us, I think. And again, I didn't know that it hadn't been done. And I've been a commissioner for 9 years or whatever, so I just assumed. Well, I just assumed that it was done, and then when I talked to Nick, I saw all the 4-H forms were filled out, but that was it. So we're just, I think, again, I don't want to beat this into the ground, but it gives them, they're able to track what's happening, and it's not that difficult to just fill it out and, get it submitted. And we're not saying you need to submit a month in advance, because that's one of the things that, and I think I texted you that, if you have something planned, again, as long as it's not a big event this weekend, and you can coordinate with Nick and Holly to say, hey, is it okay? We got next weekend coming up. Can we do this? I don't think that should be a problem. Should it? Okay.
Could it have been because they're relatively new to, it was West for a long time. West maybe just said, whatever. Possible?
No, because like I said, I think we've had this use agreement for as long as probably.
No, I mean, it wasn't used.
Oh, yeah.
It
wasn't filled out, yeah.
They're more.
Well, and that may be because I've been asking, or, we've been asking, so.
Yeah.
And it does help them to, put it on the calendar and say, we got this, so.
Yeah.
And one item I did want to bring up that I know it was previously approved, obviously was this cement and sheep and goat barn, in the sheep and goat barn. That is something that we would like to proceed with doing prior to fair. I know that wasn't on the list, but that was something that was prior approved. I just wanted to make sure that was okay to do. Brian DeCare has been the bit of choice that we will be going with to do that. So he is.
What are you gonna do?
Put the sheep and goat barn.
Okay, so Todd, you're good with Nick? We're good with Nick reviewing those and moving forward?
Yep.
Nick, are you good with that?
Yeah, and I've spoke with Corey about it previously. We need about 10 and a half feet for our tractor. So me and him talked about that. As long as we can achieve that with the new concrete going in, it won't affect anything that we try to do. And basically, we got another concrete barn, so, and I know they're volunteers and I know they gotta get it done, so I told them, same deal, turn in the paperwork. If it's something that's just outrageous, including Todd and Jesse and all the emails that we include, everything's been smooth so far. So I think as long as we've got everybody on the same page, everybody filling out the paperwork, I mean, this should be.
Well, and I said this is kind of where I keep going back to is, that paperwork, it may seem kind of ridiculous, whatever, but at least it's documented that, we've used the form, we put in whatever, you did whatever, and we have something to track. If we don't do that, and I don't know, you can tell me how it was done, before, but if it's not being tracked on that document, we don't really have, we know it was done, but what was actually done, So,
And it's that, and plus it's the scheduling part too.
Yeah.
You know, if they have something and we've got a,
yeah,
camper full of, people there, then obviously we can't go dragging
like,
tracks.
I was just gonna say, you don't want like the campground chock full and then we're gonna drag the campground and
Yeah.
complete it dust cloud.
Yeah, we've had a few incidents in the past, we've addressed it, but with the paperwork, it's gonna be good. Cause once they turn the paperwork in, Holly checks the calendar, I take a look at it, as long as it makes sense for everybody involved. Why hold it, send it, let it go.
Right.
So.
We don't want you to talk, Holly, so.
Obviously, that's what she wants and everything. I'm like, hello? You got me, Brenda, right?
Back to back. You can talk.
So we're not trying to be difficult, and yes, they did not fill out any paperwork last year. We got everything from 4-H, everything they had documented, which they do a great job of turning in everything they need. It says HTC, but no, we've never received anything from the fair board. Maybe that, we weren't told we had anything, whatever, but no, it's important to do the paperwork because everything's rentable in there. We've got it where I can rent out the horse barn, I can rent out the cattle barn, and we've got something, a 5K going July the 11th around the whole arena. We rent these spaces and people pay money to rent these spaces. So it's all just about getting with us so we can make sure we don't have any conflicts. That's it.
I think it was said too, that maybe Wes didn't, do that.
Yeah.
Again, I can honestly tell you that I've gone back through my notes and I'm looking at this use agreement back to when I was digging into stuff, 2019. I'm like, well, this has been around for quite a while. It's not like this is a new form. And I started talking to, again, because of this, talking to Nick and Holly, and I said, can you give me all the use agreements that you have? And it was all 4-H. So I'm like, well, I get that. They're doing their job, and which is good. I mean, not 4-H is turning in the paperwork, they're scheduling it, so we know what's going to be used and when it's going to be used. So, no problem. And all good then?
Go on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Next item is quick. This is just more of an FYI. Part of our communications, just wanted to let us know that they did do the public posting on or around June 17th in the Alpena News. We're allotted 30 days to respond if we have an issue with the building of this tower. Since we've kind of worked with them and okayed the building of the tower, I don't think we have to respond with anything. They did run into a small issue with the utilities being placed in there. At their own cost, they'll reroute those utilities just slightly over, moving them about, I think, what was it, Sheriff, 10 or 15 feet? Yeah. They're hoping, they actually submitted the zoning request to the township, and they're working through that right now. At the absolute latest, they're looking at breaking ground in the first quarter of 2027. However, it's more than likely if things go well with the township and the zoning, they'll actually be breaking ground sometime in the late third, early fourth quarter of this year.
Is the zoning issue still an issue, or is that gonna?
It just hit like last week, I think, was it?
Yeah, I think Wilson Township has a zoning ordinance where you can't put a tower next to a building.
Yeah, I recall the conversation. I was wondering if they're gonna get a variance for that or what this situation is.
Dan Edner, I think he's the supervisor in Wilson, he talked to me that they're looking into it, willing to work with the company. But I don't know the answer if they're gonna approve.
Okay.
Worst case scenario, if they come back and say, no, we did offer them the property near the back. So they'd have to do a little bit of clearing, but there's an alternative there, hopefully. So that's all I have on that. The next item is just Frontier Park. So we got the sidewalk laid, sculpture's been put in place. One item that we discussed in the past was possibly placing in a stone bench. Would have to pour a little bit more concrete there as well. The bench would be just over $3,000, which falls under the $3,500 threshold of needing approval from the board. However, with the concrete, it'll probably be just under 5,000. We do have about 15,000 sitting in contingency that we could tap into to complete the project. Just looking to bring that to you for discussion and a decision.
Who's doing the work on that?
Bedrock did the concrete for the sidewalks, so we probably just use them and just
To put the
finish the
bench
slab. They do the slab. The bench comes, it just has to be built basically.
Who paid for the concrete work? Did we pay for the concrete?
We did, yeah.
Do they can build that bench?
They can't, they're not gonna.
We can.
Oh,
Is that concrete?
It comes with set with.
Looks like a stacked up paver type situation to me by looking
Comes
at
with
it.
like an adhesive mortar
Yeah.
and stuff.
You just got, yeah, you just raised your hand. You got volunteered to do it.
That's
I'll bring the
$3,000.
concrete saw.
Yeah. It would wrap around the sidewalk area. And again, we put it off just slightly so there'd be some foot space too, so people's feet aren't in the way. Those who want to just maybe walk around the sculpture. And
Is this the same radius as the circle or?
so that's the one thing I have not been able to figure out. But what we figured was since we were pouring the concrete to set it on, it doesn't have to be it doesn't have to hug that sidewalk perfectly.
Oh, it's gotta look perfect.
It looked nice.
Gotta have it look. No,
In reading the reviews, it sounds like people have taken the liberty and they've come up with positive results on messing with the curvature slightly.
was that flower pots on the end?
I mean, you probably would know maybe a little bit more than I would.
Well, yeah, somewhere. Anyway, yeah, I think it's probably,
You do that?
What do we want to do?
it's just the stacked, it's up, stacked up like a bunch of pavers and they're stuck together with the construction needs, so basically landscape needs.
So could you do that for cheaper? Could you do that for cheaper?
No, this is what you're buying the kit for. Somebody's gonna put it together.
Comes in a box, right?
Thought I'd try.
Okay, so what do we want to
I
do?
would be happy to do it if I didn't have anything
I'll
to
make
do.
the motion.
Oh, I think it'd be fun to
Okay, so
kind of
Brenda's made a motion
do it.
to approve this, the concrete.
Support.
Yes.
We have support by Todd. Any further discussion? So what was the total number?
I mean, we had to estimate on the concrete. We tried getting an estimate before this meeting, but we couldn't get it. To do the full sidewalk as it currently sits, it was 7,500. We're just doing a small curvature, which we have the circle minus the two sidewalks walking to it. I'd guess probably no more than 2,000.
Yeah.
So I would say roughly 5,000, approximately 5,000 for the whole thing.
Okay, not to go over the 5,000.
Well,
There you go.
I would go a little bit higher just in case because,
5,500.
okay.
There you go.
All right, so motion and you're still with the support?
Yes.
Okay. Any final?
And we have the money for it in the contingency, right?
Sorry, yeah, we have 15,000 sitting in contingency. Roll.
Commissioner Peterson?
Yes.
Commissioner Fournier?
Yes.
Commissioner Britton?
Yes.
Commissioner LaHaye?
Yes.
Commissioner Ludlow?
Yes.
Commissioner Bray?
Yes.
Commissioner Kozlowski?
Yes.
Motion carried.
The next item is the budget adjustment. One of these was the auditor recommendation due to the MP fund needing a change. Sorry. The one thing that would need to change on this, and I apologize, is under that bold line where it says increase line item 101-200-801.000. We actually don't need where it says transfer. That part can be crossed off because that language isn't necessary to actually do the increase. So it would read increase line item 101-200-801.000 professional services to $14,191. So basically it's the same as what's underneath. We just had to correct the language because it's incorrect.
So you said we're eliminating the second line?
We're
And
not actually transferring from one
Yeah.
line item to the
not a
next.
transfer, it's just an increase.
Oh, okay.
So we would
Increase it.
get rid of anything from transfer on. That would just add on to the end of that increase line item, would just say professional services to $14,191.
Okay, so we have a budget adjustment, the budget adjustments. I'd look for motion to approve the budget adjustments.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, we've got a motion by Commissioner
So
Fournier,
moved.
support by Commissioner Peterson. Any further discussion? If not, roll call.
Commissioner Fournier?
Yes.
Commissioner Britton?
Yes.
Commissioner LaHaye?
Yes.
Commissioner Ludlow?
Yes.
Commissioner Bray?
Yes.
Commissioner Peterson?
Yes.
Commissioner Kozlowski?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay.
And then the next one is the bill that we had to add. And again, apologies for that being late. This was sitting in the hands email. Kim just came across it. It's for $500 and it's for software that they utilize for reporting purposes. They do need it in order to do the reports. They're just looking for approval to pay that bill.
I'll make a motion to approve it.
Motion by Commissioner Bray, support by Commissioner Ludlow. Any discussion?
You have the money in your line item.
Yeah. Roll call?
Commissioner Britton,
Yes.
Commissioner LaHaye,
Yes.
Commissioner Ludlow.
Yes.
Commissioner Bray,
Yes.
Commissioner Peterson.
Yes.
Commissioner Fournier,
Yes.
Commissioner Kozlowski.
Yes.
Motion carried.
The next item, the reports and ad hoc committees, facilities, Todd? Any specific things you need to talk about?
Holly gave us the report from the fairgrounds. They got the picnic tables and firings out, cutting the grass, cleaning the restrooms. Looking to get some potholes filled and dust control taken care of. I did have one question. It said planning to paint the merchants building. Is that something you're planning long term or something you want to do short term? I didn't understand.
I've been putting it on for several months, I guess, but it's only the very front of the merchants building. It's like where everybody goes in to use the restrooms. It's just, maybe you can try this.
So is that something you want to do like now?
It's-
Yeah, okay.
If it's in our budget.
Good. And I honestly don't know that, so. And she reported over
I think it is, yeah.
the week of 6/1 and 6/8, they had $2,660 in camping and dump fees. Got the financial, Alpena Rink Management, their equity positions up about $11,000 higher than last year. The P and Ls showing a net loss of a little over $4,000, which is less than the 10.5 that they had last year. Alpena Rink Management, or excuse me, Northern Lights, operating fund is actually down about 11 grand, which is reflected from a decrease in the rodeo count of this about the same amount. We received and filed the recycling reports. If I got an airport report, I don't know what I did with it because I can't find it.
Okay, thank you. Grants and contracts, Dan?
Everything we talked about was in the minutes, so
Good, I like that.
minutes, then should be
That's good, thank you.
everything.
We can all say that.
Lucille.
Yeah, courts, no, same thing, it's in the minutes.
Okay, good. Now we're.
All the reports, yeah. It was just taking the minutes reports, the receiver file, yeah, the general reports.
Personnel,
In the minutes.
okay.
On the website if you want to read it.
So now we'll go through, let me just pull that up. I know Bill's first. Bill Peters, but Bill,
Everything is going good at the county health board. Sanitarians are all working their head off now,
Yeah,
checking the beaches and restaurants and the food trucks. Everything else is going good then, so.
Ever find out what happened to the money?
Pardon?
there was a newspaper article.
Well, I don't get the newspaper.
It was paid back to the state.
Really?
Yes.
They have a decent fund balance there now.
Okay.
that's good news.
Yeah.
They're keeping up with the retirement. That's $80-some thousand a month.
Yeah.
That's good to hear. Yeah.
You good then?
Yep.
Okay, Dan,
Nothing
it's in the minutes?
exciting.
It's in the minutes?
Nothing really exciting about the NEMCOG or Thunder Bay Marine Sanctuary
Okay,
report.
all right, thank you. Lucille,
When is that? Oh, Thunder Bay Transportation?
you got Thunder Bay, local planning, you know, just highlights, I don't.
No. Thunder Bay Transportation, they have their roof repair complete finally after several years.
Yeah.
Yes, they're very excited about that, for the winter when it comes. I mean, you went in there, it was really nasty. And they just got done with their audit, and they had a very, very good audit. They're in good shape, so that's that. And then the emergency planning, we didn't.
The other three didn't end up meeting, so, and yeah, I thought I got stuck with those, but it didn't look like I got shifted over, but anyway.
We're supposed to have one next month, but
Is that, are you in charge now? Are you the chair?
Todd's the chair.
Yes, so, yeah,
Tim,
we need to make a change on
move that
that,
under him.
but we ended up not meeting.
Okay,
It was during the flood / aftermath of the second ice storm, and Nick postponed it, and now there's no Nick.
And now there's no Nick, yes, so.
okay, so we good then on Lucille and Todd for that portion?
Yeah.
Okay. Bill?
Mobile landfill, we're in the process of putting a new cell in, probably about 2.6 million. They've got it excavated out and waiting for the liner to come in. Plan on laying that down after the 4th of July. And we'll have a new cell by August or September. Target Alpena had some new board members. I think we have like 3 new board members come in. So we had 3 new board members. Material management planning, working with Jesse on that, the 5-county plan. We got our first pay come through or final our second round of pay. Okay. Want to go a little bit on, Jesse? You got those?
Yeah, we're also coordinating to do like almost like a little town hall to introduce people to the work that's being done and what the plans are going forward. So I'm working with Caitlin right now on securing a date and time.
Well, to have a public hearing, and we'll have to get all the approval of all the majority of the municipalities in Alpena County that go forward with the plan. So that is coming down by October. We have to have it done, right, Jesse?
Correct, yeah.
I wanted to ask Bill something. On the airport, is he building that gas station or this?
I did talk to Dwayne yesterday at the Target meeting, and he's starting this fall.
Because I've seen piles of sand and stuff.
Yeah, he's just been having problems with MDOT. And he's got to do a bunch of stuff. So we got the design done. So he said he's starting this fall, so.
Good.
They have like a weired entrance way to the gate,
Yeah.
right, where you couldn't turn.
Couldn't turn left.
Yeah, or left, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's just weird way they screwing around with it.
Okay. You good?
I'm good.
Okay, Brenda, Parks, anything?
No, Parks is doing good. They're not as many this year, but I think it's because
Not
of
as many parks?
yeah. People can't get the parks. I think it's because of the price for one thing went up. And now the price of groceries and gas, the people just don't really have the money.
The weather is like.
The weather was terrible. So, yeah, but I mean, yeah, they're up and they're doing good. Yeah.
Okay. So we're good with Parks?
We're good with Parks.
And Todd, you've got nothing.
I've got nothing else.
We got nothing, eh? Like,
So good thing we're gonna move those things under you. At least you'll have something.
That's why I was overachieving on the facility.
Chairman, just real quick on the parks thing, can I touch base on
Yeah.
what's going around about Cabot and his bill? So for those of you who remember, I think.
See that?
I think it was last year, there was discussions on the Parks Board and I think with members of another subcommittee, I can't remember which one, but anyway, one of the things that we ran into is the fact that by state statute, the Parks and Rec Board has to have 10 members. Out of those 10 members, 3 have to be from, are automatic. So one's from the Planning Commission, one from the Road Commission, and then the Drain Commissioner. So whereas you have individuals to choose from planning and from the Road Commission, the Drain Commissioner has to be there and does not have the ability to appoint a proxy should he choose not to be there. It has to be him. And then additionally, because there were 10 members, there was discussion on the fact that that was a much larger board than even this board to run 3 small parks versus an entire county. So there was talk about the fact that we could maybe save money in per diems and mileage if it went down to a lower number like 7, and then also opened up the ability for the Drain Commissioner to appoint a proxy should he choose not to sit on that board. That bill idea was given to Ken Cabot and he ran with it. It went through the House. Was it this past winter? I think I testified before the House on it. It went before the Senate last week. I testified before the Senate via Zoom for both of those. And I think it went through both because, which right now it's unlikely for Bill making it that far, but it's what I would consider a vanilla bill. Where I'm going with this is there's now a rumor going around online that 2 things, and I just want to make sure that people understand, well, 3 things. 1, this wasn't a bill that was just recently talked about or submitted. He did this last year, I think was when he entered it in. 2, we're not trying to take away the authority or the power of the board. We're just trying to consolidate it because 7 members is sufficient. And the third is there was rumors going around that the Parks and Rec Board oversees the fairgrounds. Parks and Rec Board has nothing to do with the fairgrounds at all.
Nothing.
They oversee
Nothing.
Long Lake Park, Beaver Lake Park, Sunken Lake Park, and Manning Hill. And that's it.
We are our own entity. We have nothing to.
I just wanted to make sure that people were aware of that. And again, this is something that started last year. So just if you hear about it, this is not something new. This is something that started a while ago.
I think ever since that social media with Facebook,
Right.
that's the problem with the whole world today. Put whatever you want on Facebook.
And I think the savings, we estimate between $2,000 and $4,000 annually, which isn't a huge savings, but you can do a lot for $2,000 to $4,000.
Yeah.
We could do advertising or other things.
Okay, moving right along. Travis is not here, so we'll skip over him. My stuff is Dare Nothing, Northeast Michigan Consortium. We just met a meeting yesterday, which is my works. Did the budget. There's $5,776,332 budgeted for this coming year. NEMA, big thing with that is we have a schedule of events. As of June 29th, the Whiteman should have a new design for the building. Part of the problem was the original proposal or the RFP that went out didn't include actual numbers in the electrical, plumbing, and mechanical. So we should have an amount by the June 9th when we meet. It's been postponed. Our meeting has been pushed off to the, not, what did I say? July. And we should have the numbers to see where we go from there. So that's all I have. So moving right along, next item. Special orders, unfinished business, okay. Next item is the unfinished business, which is the county administrator contract. So who wants to start?
I think Jesse is doing an excellent job. If ever we need help, he is there to help us. He deserves high raise. And Bill did send something around to each of us. And I did like what Bill said. That's all I'm gonna say.
Okay. Anything else? Anybody else have anything?
I talked to a bunch of the commissioners and the department heads and stuff about the previous administrator, and I personally think that Jesse's twice as valuable as the previous administrator ever was. Took him 7-8 months to fix the problems once he got in from the previous administrator.
And I'm not trying to be offensive to Jesse, but I know that there was other people. It wasn't, I know the clerk, the clerk.
Wrong way.
Clerk, the treasurer, a lot of people were involved, commissioners were involved. Again, I'm not taking anything away from Jesse.
It's true.
I just want to make sure that when we say, make clear that this is why we're here. We're here to hopefully get the county, the finances all moving in the right direction. I know Jesse was a huge part of that. But I just wanted to say that it isn't just one person, just like it's not one person on this board that does stuff. It's the whole board. So.
That was absolutely, it took all 8 members and the treasurer and the clerk and the department heads and staff and
the sheriff.
Yeah, it was a big task.
Okay. So anybody else?
I think he does a great job also. I just am concerned about the trajectory of this whole thing, and no offense meant, okay? And that wasn't my point of bringing the stuff that, that I brought to the last thing. My point is that this works out to somewhere around 6% annualized, and that's not sustainable for an extended period of time. That just to give you, and I have no problem with, I mean, what I actually think should happen is possibly a bigger bump now and a slower progression later, because it's the 6% thing that's going on here in the proposal is not sustainable. Just for instance, I mean, both his proposal options, one works out to 5.94% annually and the other one works out to 6.1. If you project that out, if you project that, do that on a 10-year projection, that works out to somewhere between $168,000 and $170,000 in 10 years.
Commissioner, are you using, which numbers are you using? Because I have.
What I did is plugged it back into my spreadsheet that I built for the original one. So, which is.
I'd show this, which had the updated ones, and those are much lower percentages now, 2% and 3%.
I have this.
Okay.
Okay, so when you plug this in, you know, anyway, I just, this works out to an annualized rate that is significant over time.
It's 3% or less every year.
Plus the stipend.
Only for the first year.
So
you're 101 to 105 to 109, is that correct?
That one's, yeah, I'm sorry, that one's at 4. These are at 2 and 3, so.
Here's when you plug in from here. At the start.
Okay, well, I'm gonna throw my 2 cents in while here. So originally, at the beginning, when Jesse started, I think we were doing the stipends to try to maybe help with the employees. But as we've moved on, my note says, I do not want to continue with stipends.
I agree with that. I think those are a bad idea. I don't think that the wages ought to be based on that.
Now, because part of the problem is, and I know I've talked to you, Jesse, initially when we talked, you know, this is a good thing when you give a stipend, but then you don't have to give as much of or your pay is still at the same place it was. But here's the problem with that. Then that stipend, which I've learned the hard way, is then we kind of work that stipend in. So in effect, that stipend is a pay raise, because when it gets absorbed back into the salary in the next year, which I've seen in the last couple of years, I would rather give the pay raise, give a pay raise at a certain percentage than give the stipends. And I probably have told the number of people that I can't stand at this point. I know I've told you that. I'm not a huge fan of stipends.
You said that forever.
Yeah, I am not either. I don't think that's a good, I mean, I just don't think that's a good plan. I agree 100% that he is not paid enough at this point relative to the other counties. I have no argument there. So I would be more inclined to bump him up and then I'd maybe not extend this longer and let us see what the environment is where we do, you know, a cost of living increase or something rather than something that's bouncing up 6%.
Yeah. Okay.
I didn't hear what the other one had to say.
Dan said something?
Yeah, I did.
I know. She's just said I didn't hear what everybody else
Just
said.
said, Dan, I'm sorry. Oh,
You want me to repeat it?
yes, if you would.
Basically, it boils down to comparing Jesse to the previous administrator.
Right, I heard that.
I think he's twice as valuable.
Yeah, that I heard.
Well, and I'm going to tell you,
It was just
we can't pay him twice what she was making.
not even paying him what she was making when she left.
Agreed. And
Well, and I'm gonna
We're
interject
not even
again.
paying them when we paid her when
So-
she first got here.
But I will say, and again, maybe Jesse, you want to step out of the room and so we can talk more about you. What I will say is, when we hired Jesse, we said pay raise was a pay raise. Pay range was 85 to 115. I know Brenda and I when we were hiring the first county administrator, Bill can attest to this, that Brenda and I were adamant that, or at least I can say I was adamant.
So
that
was I.
we did not want to pay what we were going to pay her.
I said no on hiring her. I was the only one.
You're right. But anyway, so my point is that when Jesse came in, we had that pay range. And I know Jennifer's not here. He was trying to undersell him, with all the, I'll take this for pay. I won't take any vacation. And, he was trying to cut all the stuff. And I know Jennifer said, you can't do that. So she was trying to, before you gave everything away. So right, the point is, I don't have a problem with pay raises, but I just don't like, and if I have to, and I've learned the hard way that I need to say something, at least say my bit, that I have no problem giving a pay raise, but I just, when I'm looking at some of the numbers to go from this to that, and again, I will say that I know when Jesse mentioned to me earlier that he wanted to try to realign his contract, so that way we were talking with what do you call it, the evaluations, and trying to line that up, because it didn't, where it's his whatever anniversary date from the date he was hired, and then we're having an evaluation 6 months later. So that, I guess, didn't really line up to me. And I did say to him, I said, well, we can review the contract and try to get that realigned or aligned so it lines back up. But I don't, and again, we got 8 people here, 7 other people besides myself. I just know that I've been probably vocal when it comes to, in the past, when it comes to pay raises and stuff like that.
Jesse? So why, maybe I'm just kind of confused or just tired. Why does it go down? Why is it going down each year in your options that you wrote out?
Sorry.
Are you looking at?
I'm looking at,
Mine doesn't have that.
because if, yeah.
You have it?
Right here.
Yeah, because if you go, let's say you go here, he says 3.5%, and then he's going up here to 5%, but then on these years, he's going down.
Yeah.
This is just, this starting, this is 27, and it's 3% from there.
I had sent that email out after, looking at it. My suggestion was to offer, starting next year, is offer the 100,000 and go with your 3% from there.
The stipend or?
No, but, I mean, it's up to you to decide a stipend. I mean, I can either or, but
Well, we
I
got
don't like stipends, but I mean, but I was looking at, whatever his pay is this week, this year, and then go to the 100,000 for 27 and 3% from there.
Right now, currently, the 3% isn't actually keeping track with inflation. I think that the national average right now is like 3.6 something to 3.8, depending on who you read. But the real number is probably a lot higher than that, because they take a lot of stuff out of that. I actually am okay with something in the 4 to 4.5% region, which is what I proposed in the first place. But I think that 6 is too high.
Well, and I'm going to throw this out there. I know, and I've mentioned to Jesse already about this. When we're talking, we're in the middle of union contracts, discussion on union contracts. I know you're talking one person versus how many? 20-ish? Your deputies and corrections?
We have 15 in the deputies union and 18 in the corrections union.
Yeah.
If you want to take and do it with that set amount at 100,000, let's go what the rest of the contracts are, whatever, so everybody's on the same page for raises for the following year, whatever we decide.
Right, and I think the only thing with the stipends was But I think the average on the option twos was 3%. Option one, it was a little bit higher, it was around 4.4, 4.2. My math on the second and third year. You just have to remember too, that 29 ends, and the reason that goes down is it ends in June, but it doesn't end in the end of the year. So you're cutting off so that it went. And I just did the end of the year stipend because we usually do something for the holidays for the staff. So I just figured that would be that. And then that first one was just because it's a sign on, you know, and I just figured it would be nice to have that small adjustment for this year, seeing as how even in 25, there was like no adjustment at all.
Yeah, please realize, I'm not saying you're not getting, I know you're not getting paid enough, okay? I understand that. I want to have set a trajectory that's sustainable.
I think, you know, and I appreciate the 4%. I think, you know, if I had to choose, I think the 3% at this amount is fair. I mean, when we're talking about living with this amount, because it's a higher amount than, but I think, you know, again, just the sign-on stipend would be appreciated just to adjust the salary for this year rather than doing a full out. I guess we could do that too.
Well, I gotta also throw in here too, you know, did everyone look at the contract to make sure that there's nothing on there? Because there's two things that you're really talking about, the contract and then the
Right.
amount. So one is does everybody have, or does anybody have an issue with that here?
And just one thing to note on that. So the MCL that's stated in the first paragraph of the contract, the reason that this is somewhat time sensitive is because in even numbered years, if it's not figured out before August 1st, then it limits it to only being extended by 1 year. Usually as a courtesy, you don't let it run out to the very end. I'd appreciate having the safety net of knowing that like you guys either are going to keep me around or bon voyage, you know, at the end of the year. So it just kind of, as a courtesy, it's usually renegotiated in that third year.
Well, I don't think anybody, and I've said this to you numerous times, that I don't think anybody, at least no one's come to me and said, we're gonna cancel.
You don't have to do a 3, you could do a 2, you know.
I would rather do a 3. That's my preference.
I second that opinion.
Okay. 3%.
No, 3 years.
3 years.
3 years, yeah.
So I'm gonna go back to the contract specifically, because I do have notes on that. Date, obviously, we can figure that out, but I know the evaluations, and this is one of the things that we talked about, I talked to Jesse about initially. But here's my thought too. I know, and maybe I'm wrong, but you know, if we're not going to do evaluations, or I think there should still be something done, but maybe not tied to, well, maybe it should be, I don't know, tied to the raise. Again, it depends on what everybody's thoughts are. And then I also think under employee development, that's another thing that we should be I think we should be outlining and saying, this is something that, you know, maybe as a requirement, we expect this. Because it continuing, whatever it is, I know you talked about a course that you wanted to take we talked about, but I think that there should be something in employee development, because that does, to me, it's a standard or requirement that we as the board expect him, instead of, well, maybe I'll take it, maybe I won't. I think moving forward, it would be a good thing to have something in there for the employee development.
I think that that's put in there and can be next budget time, because you'd have to put the budget line item then in there for the class, which we could figure out which classes or, you know, seminars you want me to attend or.
And then just the other thing, and I don't know, I wrote down here at this point, you've completed most of the first contract. Do we want to change the 6-month severance or did you put a note in there, which I didn't get that note, like post contract or something like that? My point is, I don't want to I don't want to say we're going to get a 6-month severance and just have this continued forever. Because in most cases, we have at-will employees that if we end their employment, they don't have anything. And I'm not saying we're going to get rid of you, but I'm going to negotiate what I think, we could reduce that number.
And what's it at right now?
Huh?
It's at 6 right now?
Yeah,
I'd be okay with slicing it in half. I think that's,
I'd be okay with 3 weeks. But anyway, so that's the first thing, because like I said, those were the things that I saw in the contract.
Well, basically, we know what contract that can be worked out, those minor issues, but basically, all we gotta decide here today is wages for that contract.
Well, I guess, because
Are we talking the length of contract too is changing?
2 year, 2 or 3, whatever, 3 years.
For 3 years,
Still
yeah.
stand up.
3 years.
Adjust the contract after you make the,
If we know.
figure what we're gonna pay him.
Yeah.
So-
but the contracts has to be signed
Well,
before
those suggestions.
one odd.
Yeah, what we got next to.
I'm gonna go down
I
to
think we have the three items listed out of those three, 2 of them. Well, I mean, did you want to actually list specific classes and courses or?
No, I don't want, I just think there needs to be an expectation.
Yeah.
I think that's fair. I think that's in there. It
I mentioned a
allows for directive.
I figured 102.4%.
We're gonna do the wages first,
102.
then the contract.
Well, I guess, it's whatever, I'm still.
I'm good.
Information out of you guys.
All right, well, I'm gonna make a motion that we give Jesse the 100,000 with the 3% stipend and a 3-year contract. That's my motion.
27.
Yes. That's my motion.
Okay, so we have a motion,
I'll support that.
support, any further discussion?
What comes after the 100,000?
3%.
Well, no, she said 3%.
I said 3%
You said
stipend.
3% stipend.
Yes,
And 3%.
No, we're not getting stipend.
Well, she made the motion.
I made the motion to give him a
You
3%
can't tell her
stipend.
no, she made the motion.
You have to reject it if you don't want stipend.
I don't want the stipend.
That's a discussion.
Because everybody else is getting a stipend,
Well,
all the other employees of the county.
Okay, but now what Todd was asking, you're saying 3% stipend and 3%.
No, this was $1,000 stipend, I think.
no, she said 3% stipend,
3%.
which would be $3,000.
But then moving forward for each year, I thought she said 3%.
No, 3-year contract.
3% per year.
3%, that's what I was asking.
Yeah, 3%.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay. Everybody have that?
I think I understand it.
Well, you need to understand it because we're gonna.
We're gonna vote on it. 3% stipend, 100,000 wage, 3-year contract.
What do we do with the rest of the stuff that's undefined then at this point?
It's what, undefined? What's
Yeah.
undefined, like the,
Are we, you brought up the severance.
yeah.
No, we
Well,
ain't getting
he
rid of
said
that.
he wants to work out the pay.
Yeah.
And that's, if obviously this isn't gonna happen effective tomorrow. The contract needs to have these items
Going over.
in, maybe it's at personnel that those get corrected.
So we'll make a wage adjustment at this point as of right now, and then we'll deal with the rest of the
No,
contract.
she said 27.
A new contract.
New contract.
Yeah.
I think what Commissioner Britton means is then what's for 28 and 29 on the chart. Is that what you?
No, I'm not. I'm not sure how we do this partially. I don't know how we adjust the wages, not the rest of the contract all at one time.
Right.
That's confusing.
So you gotta put a wage in before you can finish a contract.
Right, but the wage would be sort of negotiated with us, the other sort of points, like with the severance pay and
I
stuff.
don't think there's much, there's only like 3 items there that.
Yeah, I didn't have I went through everything and there wasn't a lot to, the discussion of the value, really the dates, not a big deal, evaluation, how you want to do it, how we want to do it, compensation, if that's what we're discussing right now, employee development, and then the severance. So there's only like three.
Okay, well, if we want to vote on the compensation right now, I guess we can do that and we'll deal with the other part.
Well, I got this other vote out there right now.
No, you only have one vote, compensation.
Compensation.
Oh, yeah, the compensation. That's what I've got. Yeah.
Okay, so is everyone,
I'm not gonna do,
So that's 100,000 with a 3% stipend. 3-year contract at 3% every year.
yes,
Okay.
that's her motion and that.
that's
was-
my motion and Bill supported it.
Now,
No, that's just to clarify, that's a 3% increase annually.
Right.
And not also a 3% stipend, just so I know what I'm.
that's what I was just gonna ask, yeah.
I think it's a 3% increase, right, Brenda?
3% increase, that would be the 3% stipend.
No, it's not even.
Oh, you're talking three, oh, I got it.
That's
okay.
stipend.
Oh, too many numbers. I understand what you're
Percent a
saying.
year,
Yeah.
$100,000.
Right,
Yeah,
yeah.
Okay,
so that you change your motion.
No, I didn't change my motion.
Well, you gotta get the stipend.
you clarified your
Yeah,
motion.
you clarify. So in 28, you would get 103,000. Is that right? Yeah. At 3%.
No, that's your.
No,
That's your wrong line.
that's my wrong line. Oh, that would be at 101,000. At 3%, giving him
That wasn't
100,000.
3%.
No, we're giving him 100%. I mean, 100,000. And then.
Yeah,
at
but you don't
3%.
need to look at that to, if what your motion was, what I understood is 100,000, 27, 3% stipend. And then the following year after that would be 3% increase. And the following year after that, it would be a 3% increase.
Right, and a 3-year contract, yes.
Okay, so
Has
everyone
everybody got that?
understands that?
Yeah.
I understand that now. Thank you. Okay.
Well, I'm not. Okay,
We need a whiteboard.
yeah. Okay, so any other questions?
Is it the same in 28 as in 27? If you're taking away his $3,000 stipend?
Taking what
Just
away?
3%? If you take in 28, you'll be back to what he is in 27 if you take away his 3% stipend.
Well, you already know how I feel about stipends.
Yeah, I know.
I don't like them either, so.
But
I
that
think
was,
we need to make this a little simpler.
that was her motion, so,
Yeah.
well, that was her motion, so motion, so
Call for the question.
do you wanna,
Can a stipend be done outside of this? Like during evaluation?
no, because I think that was,
That was the problem before.
I know.
When does the other employees get their stipend?
well, if I have anything to say with
Why,
that.
you had no.
Me
You're
too.
not overruled.
We're gonna revisit that.
Okay. So,
We're just doing a stipend for the first year then.
okay, so is everyone ready? Good?
Oh, yeah.
Move on?
Okay,
Good.
so in 28, he gets 103.
Don't overthink this.
Yeah, let's just make it simple.
Yeah.
Okay, make it simple.
All
Well,
right,
she did.
I did. Can't get any simpler than that.
Yeah. So that was her motion. So let's vote. Roll call.
Do we have a second?
Question.
I second it.
Okay.
Call for question.
Commissioner LaHaye,
Yes.
Commissioner Ludlow,
No.
Commissioner Bray,
Yes.
Commissioner Peterson,
Yes.
Commissioner Fournier,
Yes,
Commissioner Britton,
Yes.
Commissioner Kozlowski.
No.
Motion carried.
I got it. So last.
Okay. All right,
Yeah.
Thank you.
so let's go back to the agenda.
Correspondence.
I gotta get that.
It's the next thing. It's correspondence.
Okay, we have nothing for correspondence? Do we have new business? No.
No, new business.
So what was that thing that was added? Oh, that was added under you.
Now when you get to 28.
Public comment. So we're back at public comment.
Still just add 100,000.
Guys, we're back at public comment. So anyone for public comment? No? Oh, really?
103,
Kim?
106, 3.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
And
Okay.
100.
Who is that?
It's Don Gilman. For public comment, I just want to thank you for the hard work that you're doing. Having been a commissioner, I can see the change in the board and the dynamics. And I know that it's not only just the new board members, but that Jesse, with his wealth of experience, government experience, is a big part of that. And you guys have done super work on getting the budget under control as best you can, in light of all the Facebook warriors that constantly like to attack us government officials, but that's just part of the game. But I'm glad that Jesse got a raise. I think it's well deserved. And again, I just want to thank everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is he the only one?
Would you be able?
Okay, last call for public comment here. Close public comment. And then I'd look for a motion
I'll
to,
make the motion.
motion by Commissioner LaHaye, support by Commissioner Fournier. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. You guys adjourned?
Hopefully those, all those things